In this video, we will quickly improve the styling of our shopping app, and I will show you the best practices to set up the navigation and the routings of your screens like a hero. Recently, I published this tip on my blog. Go check this article, the link will be in the description. And we are gonna to use this method instead of using color generator websites to generate colors and manually set up the theme data of our material app. We will do this step in one single line. Let me show you how we are gonna to do this in one single line. At first, we are going to main.dart and go to our material app. And let's add the theme argument, which take a theme data widget, and inside theme data, let me add a color schema seed and choose one single color with one single line. It will auto-generate the rest of the app colors. Let's run the app and test it right now. Now in main shopping, we don't use an app bar, so I'm going to add one app bar. And let's give him a title, a phone shop, and hit reload. Now we have this beautiful color and the rest of the app or the rest of the schema will auto be generated. We won't do much about styling this app right now, but I'm a big fan of round corners. So in our grid tile here, I'm gonna to round the corners of every item in the screen or in the grid. And to do this, we are going to grid product item here. And I'm gonna to wrap grid tile with a clip rect and give it a border radius, and I'm gonna to give it an 18. Let's run the app right now and check. Nice. And for more styling, I think we can give our grid a padding. I'm going to give it a 10 to give a space here, and in the cross axis spacing, I'm gonna to give it like 15. To make a space between every row, and I think that's nice for now. Now let's set up our navigation like a hero. But first let's create a second screen in our shopping app. So I'm going to screens and going to create a new Dart file and name it a product details screen. This screen will show when we press any product in our main shopping screen here. If we open this Samsung, it should open a screen with the details about this product. In this page, let's create a stateless class and return a scaffold with an app bar and title. Now we have a second screen. After that, we need to add an on-tab function to the product image here. So we are going to grid product item, and we'll go to this image and wrap it with a widget called gesture detector, which allows us to tap on the child of it by adding an on-tab argument. When we tap on the image, this code is going to be executed. Next, we wanted to navigate from our grid screen to the product details screen when tapping on any image. We can use the easy method of navigation on the fly push method, which allows us to push the context of this screen to another material page route. In our case, we are going to import this. If we rerun the app, press here on Samsung, it's going to navigate to our details screen. But we will not use this method because when your application goes bigger and bigger, your code will be hard to maintain and won't be clean code. So to be an advanced, you should use named route, which setting all the screen route. Here in the material app, there is an argument called routes. And in the routes, you can add your routes of your entire application. First, you enter the key, and next, we pass a function which contain a context and return our screen. And repeat this 1 and 2 and 3. And you can use all your screens in here in root. This map is just meaning if I call this key, you just return this function here, which direct us to screen 1. But how it's going to look like in real situation? In our case, we will use 2 keys for 2 screens for now. So I'm going to delete this and use this. Let's import product details screen. Now we set up our routes, but before we run the app and test, I promised you that I will share tips that make your code is more professional. So instead of using strings as a key, we will add a static variable for every screen on the top of the class. So we don't need to use these strings to prevent spelling mistakes. So in here in our main shopping app on the top, before the constructor, we are gonna to use a static constant ID, which equal to this key here. And we are not gonna to use this string anymore. We will delete this and use the class name .id, and we will do the same here. .id return a product screen. This method is much easier to understand and easy to see how many routes you have in your app. Later, if you have more than 1 or 2 or 3, we will just move this to a new Dart file and import the path of it here. Now let's go to our grade product item. Instead of this code here, we will use the second method or named route. And here we will pass the ID of the destination that we want to navigate to. Let's rerun the app. We have the same result. We aren't done yet. A final step in this video is that I want to pass an ID of the product to our product detailed screen here. When I navigate from the screen, I want to pass the ID here. When you use the named routes, it allows you to use arguments called arguments, which allow you to pass anything of type object to the next screen or the destination screen. So in our case, I'm gonna to pass the ID of the product, which we are gonna to use later. But before we end this video, I'm gonna to show you how that we are gonna to extract this ID in the destination screen. First, we will go to build method here, and we'll be able to get the ID like this. If you have an error here that says that the property setting can be unfortunately accessed because the receiver can be null, you just need to put this here. Now we can use this ID in this screen. Okay, we have the ID of the product. How can we use it? Now it's time that we are going to need a state management. And this is the start of using our state management in our shopping app. Let's take a coffee break, and in the next video, we will go deeper into state management. See you after break.